Hi everyone. So last time I showed you guys this box. Um I didn't have like any I think I only had the bell peppers in and the onions and the leeks. Well, it's been a week since then. I added some plants. I guess these other plants have been in here for 2 weeks now. There's some basil, sun tomatoes, some strawberries. Um yeah, and that's it. I know it is crowded, but that's for a good reason. Um, we get a lot of sun, and it is summertime in California, so I'm not worried about it not getting enough sun. And I have this. Um, right here is one of those water moisture sensors that I built in the previous video. There's another one buried over there. You can just see the wire right there. And then right here is my temperature sensor that is partially buried in the soil as well. And then this is a box that I made. Uh, this box has 4 PWM channels that are connected to MOSFETs. Two of which are in use right now. There used to be a third one, and that was for water aeration to reduce the chlorination levels when I top it off, as well as just add air. Like this just right now. Put this right here. This box uses a couple of these quick disconnects and an Arduino Nano and just some miscellaneous stuff, as well as a nickel cadmium battery. There is a LM317 linear charge regulator or linear regulator that I've configured for the maximum voltage, and it's charged by that solar panel over there. Yeah, it all takes care of itself. The pepper plants are becoming green again. They were sick before, but now the leaves are very green. We even have some new apical meristem growth. A lot of strawberries are coming in. There's some fat ones right there, and there's a lot right here. There's a bunch over there. There's one here. We have some flowers coming in on the tomatoes. Um, Looks like we'll get some new buds. 4 more peppers, and we have a pepper right here. Big fat pepper. And then we've been harvesting these onions like a lot, and it's still growing out of control. And the leeks are coming in. New growth right here, you can see. And if you peek down through here, there's a lot of new growth as well. Uh, yeah, they're huge. I'm also trying to make some potatoes. Potatoes are very slow growers. But today, I've noticed this one's been red for a while, and it's not getting any more red. So, yeah, doesn't look like it's going to get bigger. So I don't want the fruit to rot. So I'm just picking it now. Um, yeah, it looks like we have a friend. There's a hole in this leaf that wasn't here yesterday. Now, the tomatoes and the peppers are susceptible to aphids. I did find a caterpillar on the basil, but I've been pulling a lot from the basil, basically at least a leaf a day, and I've been, you know, cooking eggs with that. Same with the onions. It's been pretty good. It's pretty self-sustaining for now. This is a valve to keep from siphoning out. So it would close off this valve, or when it senses it needs watering, it would close this valve and then turn on the pump. And then once it senses that there's enough moisture in the soil, it turns off the pump, opens the valve, and that stops it from siphoning. If I were to leave this closed, or if I didn't have this valve, then water would just keep going through. I know you can solve that with a small pinhole, but because this is a very small brushless DC motor pump, I don't want to lose any pressure. So this was just something I had, and I'm trying to get rid of extra parts I have lying around the house. So yeah. Now, as for the charging system, it's just some thin speaker wire going up to this DC to DC converter. I have a bigger solar panel, but I can't seem to find it. Um, but I'm just using this like little DC converter that I built using an LT34063. You can get these from older car phone chargers, and it's just going up to these solar panels, which are some special solar panels that are the kind that go into space. Uh, and I got these defective, but they still work extremely well. A lot better than your regular solar panels. There's moisture on them. I can clean that up, but they don't seem to be affected. Uh, these this outputs about 1 amp at like 4 volts, um, and then this thingy steps it up to about 11 volts. And the nickel cadmium battery is a 7.2 volt, which means it needs to be charged up to around 9.3 volts. So I need a reasonable voltage to drop across a linear regulator. And I'm only using a linear regulator because that little tiny solar panel, even though it looks small, actually outputs tons of power. And that's more than enough to charge the battery. Now, this has been running for almost 2 weeks continuously now without any maintenance other than I update the code a little bit because it is summer and the sun or the temperature swings between 85. Last week was 85. The last 2 days have been in the hundreds, which is pretty bad. That's why I'm having to supplement shadowing with this chair. But yeah, overall, really good. It's actually growing really fast. And just to prove soil health, there's actually these little sprouts. You could see one right there and right there, which means that the soil is pretty moist because those will only survive if it's really decent. I wouldn't say overwatered too because this has actually been like for certain days when it's actually like around the 80s, this won't water at all. But like the last 2 days where it's been 100, it emptied the bucket. And then I have to top off with this. And then I just leave water out so that it can dechlorinate. But yeah, pretty good.